Hello and welcome back to the 1% podcast. I am going solo this week, and going forward I'll probably do a few more solo podcasts, as I kind of came up with the old 1% podcast analogy a while ago, and it's very good to kind of have people on it which epitome 1%. Jamie's very good with that, and I'm going to be getting Jamie on quite a bit with some guests as well, so because he brings a very good perspective. Me and Jamie are very good at sort of having debates about certain topics. We had a good debate today, and it kind of shows why I get them on board with stuff. So gonna go solo. Welcome back to episode, I think it's 5 now. So today I put out some topics the other day. Today's one is going to be regarding social media and realistic expectations. I'm going to cover this from a personal training perspective, a therapist perspective, and I'm going to cover both of those issues regarding sort of like the lady that posted the topic regarding yoga. So the topic came about with a lady called Jess. She messaged me saying that an important topic that she felt was kind of being sort of overlooked at the moment is regarding yoga influencers. So I'll be honest, not knowing a lot about yoga influencers, I couldn't really kind of, but I have seen some information out there. The only information I've seen basically out there is you'll see advertisements posted up on your Facebook and Instagram all the time. And one of them showed a girl couldn't do the splits. And then 4 weeks later, she was able to do the splits fully. And I'm looking at it going, 4 weeks? That's unrealistic. I know what I'm doing, but I couldn't do it in 4 weeks. So I'm going to cover it. I'm going to try and I'm going to put positives on this in terms of social media. I'm going to, obviously, there's going to be some negatives. I'm going to talk about it. I'm also going to talk about how you can potentially see through basically the bullshit that's out there. Like abs in 4 weeks, therapists saying, oh, get you pain free in 1 session. So, it's giving you the information, and then what you do with it is completely up to you. So, Jess basically put it that there's a lot of stuff going around about how yoga influencers make a lot of poses look a certain way, and that if you have different bones or shorter limbs, there is no way you can look like them. Now, I'll be honest, with a lot of yoga people that I know, in terms of people that I see online do it, they are very thin, which can potentially make people who aren't very thin look at it and go, it's not for me. When that's not the case. Like with anything, there'll be ability levels for everything. I know a very good yoga teacher at the gym I'm a manager at, and he has definitely said there are ability levels out there. However, you can do yoga online. You can type in beginner yoga on YouTube, but there's definitely like a thing whereby influencers, especially, influencers at the end of the day, they're going to be sort of like pushy and make you feel bad about yourself because it's the way they promote their own stuff, because it's going to make you supposedly feel better. And the thing I've seen with it is, she says here, they're making it an exclusive club, and people who are less flexible or with shorter limbs feel they are not part of it. And for anyone that might feel that way, just know that when they first started doing it, it's a skill. Anything that you do is a skill. When they first started doing it, they would have been terrible. Now, however much you do certain things, so I come from a teaching background, so the rule of thumb apparently is 10,000 hours of practice makes you a master of something. So for you to master anything, you're looking at about 10,000 hours of practice. Now, there's debates whether you can make that shorter or longer, basically dependent upon how good that practice is. Just by turning up is not enough. You have to obviously get better. So 10,000 hours of good quality practice is what I would put across as how you get better. So for them, you have to remember that they would have been doing this a lot longer from you. And the issue with social media is it's a snapshot. So we'll talk about this in terms of that snapshot quite well. So, and this links into sort of your PT and therapy stuff. So the way I'm going to look at it in terms of PT and a snapshot is that you're only seeing what they want you to see. You don't see anything else outside of that. So the main thing I see at the moment with social media in terms of like realistic expectations, and like snapshots is I post up clients regularly on my Instagram. So if you don't know that, Mind to Muscle Therapy. I am a personal trainer. I am a massage therapist. I work on both avenues. I prefer to be a therapist because I prefer to get people out of pain rather than in pain, but I digress. And what I do is, like, when I'm posting up clients, I'm posting up a snapshot. I'm posting up like a 4 to 5 second clip, depending on, unless I waffle on and go on a bit longer. But 9 times out of 10, I'm posting a little bit for feedback, video feedback, to kind of show people what they're doing, and also to get them to, as like it's a way to see how they've progressed as well. So the main thing I'm doing with that in that 4 to 5 second video is what I want them to do. Now, to give you an idea, I post up some regular videos regarding and sort of intensity, and I've posted up a few videos that have got, what's the word, hate. And the reason being is because there will always be a person out there that thinks they know better. Now, the thing you've got to understand with these realistic expectations is that you're only seeing a snapshot of what people want you to see. However, people that use it correctly, I would say, I'd like to think I use it correctly. There is no hidden agenda. There are no smoke screen mirrors. But I'm basically using it to get out. I mean, I'm not advertising, but it is an advertisement. So the one thing with my ladies is that that I train, you know, I'm posting up weights that they've never lifted before. Now, when it comes to intensity, you're looking at an all-out effort. Now, I posted up a video recently of a lady doing barbell rows, and I got a message saying, oh, she shouldn't be doing like that, you know, it's too heavy for her and all the rest of it. And like, you know, and my response was like, were you with us for the whole hour? You know, no, all you're seeing is a snapshot of the session. You haven't seen all the stuff I've communicated with them in the previous hour before they even lift that weight. You don't see what I say to them afterwards. So the one thing with social media is you have to realize you're looking at snapshots, and this kind of like ties into sort of like a little bit more PT when it comes to training and diets. You know, I've got people that want to be on diets, and I ask questions, and, you know, having my background in sports nutrition, you know, they'll ask me, oh, Matt, will I have abs in 4 weeks? And I'm like, why would you say that? And it's because what they'll see is they'll see their favorite people they follow on Instagram. They'll be like, you know, they'll look like they're year round have abs. And I'm like, no, they're showing you what they want you to see. You know, if you see like, nobody can be like that lean all year round, and, you know, unless you're a genetic freak. But the idea is it kind of gives you like the best analogy I always see is, if you've ever seen the Rocky movie, you'll see, like, you know, he'll be training, it'll be a 2-minute clip, really motivational music. He'll be kind of, I don't want to say out of shape, and then 2 minutes later, he's in massive shape. But that 2 minutes like clip was about 6 to 9 months worth of training and dieting, all the rest of it. But you've seen it's such a small thing. You're like, oh my God, I can get like that, you know, and you don't realize that's taken years and years and years to kind of build up, to even get to that level. So in terms of like realistic expectations, like, to give you an idea, if you're doing like, you know, so for those people who talk about like nutrition, you know, they're looking to diet and all the rest of it, you know, I'll give you an idea what my experiences, and, you know, and what I want you to kind of see is sort of like real sort of like examples, real life examples. So my experience, I did a diet, I posted it on my Instagram. I did a diet last year in March when we had the first lockdown. And I did a photo shoot in September I did it on September 11th, the one day before my 30th birthday, because I wanted to be in the best shape I've ever been in. It took me 6 months to diet. And when I post up the 2 photos, I'm in massively out of shape in the first one. And then the second one, you know, I'm covered in baby oil, I've just got spray tan, and, you know, I look the best I've ever looked. But it's taken me 6 months of being in a calorie deficit. And yet people will be like, you know, oh, I've dieted for 2 weeks, I haven't got abs. I'm like, what? Like, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. I mean, it's weird to kind of understand how we have this mentality in society today, whereby we have such a quick fix mentality, and like nobody wants to put the effort in. One of my clients that I post up regularly, you know, is Shelley. We started working together in March last year. We are now into February, so almost a year together. In that time, she has lost almost 3 stone. It's a target. We'll get there eventually. If you're listening, Shelley, we'll definitely get there. But was that like, we didn't set out to do that. I think most people don't realize that they set unrealistic expectations from seeing people online and potential, like the way they get their results. I mean, I saw a post today of a guy who was already really lean, and then in 4 weeks, like, he looks incredible. But you're like, he's already really lean. What happens if you're like 5 stone overweight? You're not going to get abs in 3 weeks. It's just not possible. So, I like to put in terms of realistic expectations. I mean, I'm just started working with a really tall guy. He's 115 kilos. And one of the things we have conversations about is about how he's going to look. He wants to look beach ready, and he's like, do you think I'll be ready in 8 weeks? And I'm like, and if you listen to this I'll tell you exactly the same when I see you. It will be, I don't think you'll be ready in 8 weeks, but you'll be further along than when you started. Because if I give you 8 weeks and you go and we get there and you're not where you want to be, you get disheartened. Whereas, however, if we get there and we take each week, I thought personally when I did my diet, I didn't think to begin with, I didn't think I was that bad out of shape. I was thinking, God, 8 weeks, I'm going to look incredible. And I look better. But then I was like, oh my God, 8 weeks, I still not want to be. Let's keep going and see how far I can take this. And 12 weeks came, I was like, okay, yeah, still getting there. And then I went for 16 weeks. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, still getting there. But it took me 6 months to get where I thought about it. And most people kind of think they can kind of like get there in 4 weeks. And it's weird to see where this thinking has come from. So in terms of realistic expectations for anyone who's out there who's dieting, you're looking at least, depending on your body composition, your age, your sex, male or female, depending how far away from your, in terms of body composition, where you're at, what your goal is. There are so many variables you're looking at that can set you up for unrealistic expectations. So when you ever go and see someone, if you're going to see a personal trainer, if you're going to see a therapist, try and have the honest conversation, like, what's it really going to take? And this kind of leads on to my therapy as well. So when people come in, and when they're in massive amounts of pain, they'll go, there's almost an expectation that if I don't get them fixed in one session, they're just going to think you're rubbish and you're going to go elsewhere, because they will see people online who are posting up, oh my God, look what I've done in 1 hour and one treatment. They never need to come back. And yet I've treated people who have come from those people because they're still in that amount of pain. I know a therapist that charges £250 an hour for an emergency appointment. And yet, one of the clients, someone he treated last year, he posted on his Instagram, fixed in one session, how do you feel? Great. Endorphins releasing massively. But then I spoke to that guy because he was from this area a couple of weeks later, and he's like, oh man, it's flared up again. But there's nothing but you won't see that because supposedly it's all fixed in one session. And I like to say to people, whether it's PT, whether it's therapy, again, potentially whether it's yoga and all the rest of it, that everybody's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. We have to find what works for you, what doesn't. Like PT, it's in the name, it's personal, right? Every one of my clients has a personal training plan for them. I've got 2 ladies at the moment. Well, that's I've got quite how many ladies we've got. So you got, I think at the moment I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ladies, ranging from 24 to 50. I have 2 males ranging from 27 to 40. I have weights ranging from 54 kilos to 115 kilos, female and male. So how can you have a training plan that is the same for every single one of them. Now, there'll be exercises that everybody can do. However, it'll be the way that they do them. You know, a way that someone 6'4" is going to do a squat is going to be different to a way that a girl who's 5'4" is going to do a squat, because their biomechanics are different, their limb lengths are different. So that's the one thing in terms of like realistic expectations. We're talking about getting people to a goal in terms of making it personal to them. I think that makes sense, just off my top of my head. If not, by all means, feel free to message me, and I'll be able to chat this through with you. But yeah, you have to make it personal to the person. It's the same with therapy. Every person that comes in, they are assessed differently because they are different. Anyone who thinks you can get and that's why the issue I have at the moment, like with you'll see it online, and I know 100% you'll see this, is try my workout. And I'm like, what? Your workout's designed for you. I understand there's a difference between wanting to motivate people and get them moving, all the rest of it, but like unfortunately because of free information that comes out there, it actually devalues the people that actually qualified in putting something together for you. Like, I try not to post out anything training wise for people to try, because I don't know what they can do. I haven't assessed their mobility. I haven't assessed their intensity. I have no idea how strong they are. I have no idea if they've got an injury history. And yet people just put out information as that. It's why I tend not to put out information for therapy based on to help certain people, because how do people know whether they're tight or not? I mean, they don't know what I know because I've gone and trained for it. So putting out information, it's kind of difficult on social media to kind of put stuff out there that's very beneficial, but blanket to everybody. I mean, the only thing I can think of that would help a lot of people, therapy perspective, is hanging. A lot of people these days have shoulder issues, especially with lockdown now. You've got limb lengths, you've got sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, they're not getting up, they're not stretching, everybody's in a crouch position. You can't see this if it's on Spotify, by the way, but everyone's got your shoulders pulled forward, and then they're wondering why their shoulders hurt. So one of the best things that I found with clients, and one of the top orthopedic surgeons on the planet has found the same in terms of hanging, is that, so he gets people to hang for up to a minute 3 times a day. I get people to hang as soon as they can get a minute. We then start adding weight. So for example, I found that clients who can hang, who have a weight of up to 15 kilos, pulling them down, and they can hang it for up to a minute, they've got no shoulder issues anymore. So that's probably the most blanket thing I can put out there, but everybody's different. So yeah, I've got a couple of points here, so I don't digress. One of those, that's probably one of the negatives of social media. There is no personal about it. Trying my workout is designed for me. There's no point you trying it, because I have no idea are you the same weight. The only person who could potentially train the same as me is my twin, but even then we're completely different. He's overweight. He won't mind me saying that, but he knows it. So what's the point? I can't get him to do box jumps or something like that because his body is not ready for it. So yeah, that's kind of the negatives of social media. The positives of social media are finding out like the good people that put out realistic expectations out there. So a couple of people off the top of my head, you've got someone like Trained by JP, puts out realistic expectations of what it takes to become ridiculously strong, muscular, getting in good shape. In terms of, I'm trying to think of therapy, that puts out really good information. Medical Home Visit is a very good person. Rishi in London, he's an osteopath. He puts out some very good information out there, which is great. So yeah, when it's to kind of give you an idea for people that you look for. So when you type into Instagram, one of the things I get people is, how do you know what is achievable? If you can see what's like up to date of them, 9 times out of 10 it's looking at their stories, what they're posting compared to like to give you an idea, the most liked picture I've got on my Instagram is a picture of me covered in spray tan, baby oil, without my shirt on. And yet I had put out some great content regarding shoulder injuries and that out there previously, and it's got no recognition, basically. So yeah, it's one of those superficial things. I hate it, but it's if it's a way to get people in and then see what I do on a story basis on a daily, then yeah, it's kind of worth it. But don't take that as like, you know, I have that shot and then I'm constantly in shape all year round. That's definitely not the case. After dieting for 6 months, yeah, it's safe to say I wanted to go back into eating some food. What else did I put up here? So I've talked about my experiences, my clients. You know, some people that I've worked with, you know, 2 ladies, great in terms of having they just do the do. So if you're going to work with anybody, there's no point paying for their time and not doing what they say. So there's no point you paying for like a diet plan with me and then all of a sudden like you just don't stick to it. Just doesn't work. What am I trying to think? In terms of PT therapy and diet expectations, so to give you an idea, personal training expectations, you want somebody that is going to make stuff personal for you. They are going to explain stuff to you. To give you an idea on this one, I can let all my clients go on their own because they've been taught how to make progress. So if I'm not there one week, I could always tell them what to do, or if they bugger off and decide that enough training with me is enough, then they can quite easily make progress on their own because I've taught them how to do it. A training session has to have teaching points in it. That's just the way it goes. Therapy. When people come into me as for a therapy session, you know, it's good to be honest. The reason why people aren't honest is because it doesn't sell. So if I told you, if I can get you fixed in one session, that's not right. So, well, yeah, to be fair, 9 times out of 10, we can make a good improvement in a session unless you've got something really wrong with you. However, a lot of therapists will be like, right, I need to see you 5 to 6 times over the course of the next 6 weeks. And a lot of times you'll be going in and having the same issue. Now, because I'm so big on progress in personal training and therapy, it's kind of really difficult for you to keep coming in and seeing the same injury that might be bothering you. So we're looking at, in terms of realistic expectations, I think you can get a good amount of pain reduction in one session if they know what they're doing. You should be given some kind of plan to go forward with. And the idea is to find out what works, what doesn't work, and absolutely hammer the stuff that does work. So if somebody let's say someone comes and sees me, they've hurt themselves in the gym. First things first is we need to make sure, well, I can give you a most recent one. So the wife suffered an injury last weekend. It was squatting, back went, sharp pain, and as a result, massive pain following 24 hours. So didn't treat her on the Sunday, too inflamed. We iced it, we heated it, we made sure she was moving. On the Monday, we did a treatment. We got into some painful areas and we reduced those. But then the aftercare for me was like, whatever you do outside of the session is more important than what goes on in the session. So just getting her to move was a priority. Getting people to move into a painful area is a priority. So at the beginning of the week, I would have said she came in walking like John Wayne. Really old. You would have thought she was 80. But by the end of like Thursday, after moaning at her to continuously do movements, yeah, she'd massively improved. And then by Saturday, she was out doing running training. So yeah, but one session. Whereas people were like, right, come back 3 times. Yeah, and if they're £50 a time, that's 150 quid you've spent. Now I would say I can get you a lot less pain in one session. If you need to come back, it's that the pain might have traveled to a sort of different area because the aftercare program I would have given you would have helped improve it further. So in terms of realistic expectations, if you're going in there for a treatment for 10 minutes, like you would do maybe with a and unfortunately there are a couple around this area, some really poor chiropractors, you'll be getting 10 minutes, leaving feeling exactly the same. Now, and they'll ask you to come back 4 or 5 times maybe in that week. Now, what we're looking to, definitely in terms of realistic expectations, that is terrible. So yeah, you should be coming out of a session feeling at least like a good endorphin release anyway, feeling better, feeling lighter, feeling like you can move better. And then we'll see how your body responds again over the next 48, 72 hours. What other expectations I can put in there? So I think that might be everything, actually, to be fair. Diet expectations, just off the top of my head, you're not going to get abs in 6 weeks unless you're already ridiculously lean. You know, you're looking a minimum of 12 weeks to 16 weeks is a good program. And again, that's with somebody that explains stuff to you. I think that might be everything. You know, we've looked at it from a personal training perspective, a therapy perspective, yoga perspective. I hope that's answered your question there, Jess. It's a very good topic because you are right. Social media and realistic expectations is something that needs to be addressed because there's so much rubbish out there. What else is there? We've covered unrealistic achievements, client experiences. Yeah, you know, if anybody has any questions regarding this anymore, and this leads on to anything else, by all means, just drop me a DM. More than happy to have a chat with you. My job, I used to be a teacher, so my job is to teach people. So if I can teach you and you go along and you get 1% better, perfect. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I have a few more that I'm going to be getting out over the course of next week, so do keep an eye. Please give us a subscribe on the YouTube, on the Spotify. And yeah, have a good week.